I was sitting on my porch in Asheville, North Carolina, nursing my morning coffee and watching the fog lift off the Blue Ridge Mountains when I saw it. Page 4 of the Asheville Times, a headline that made my stomach clench and my grip freeze around the mug. Local entrepreneur leaves elderly couple stranded at the airport during holiday storm. Beneath the headline, my face. An outdated photo from my construction company's old website, probably from when I still had more hair than gray.
I read the article. Then I read it again, and a third time. It described how Thomas and Evelyn Cartwright, both in their late 60s, had flown into Asheville Regional Airport expecting a ride that never came. According to the paper, I'd left them stranded for over 4 hours during a supposed dangerous winter storm. Evelyn claimed they called me dozens of times, that I ignored them, that at their age, being abandoned was not just cruel, but life-threatening.
Except the temperature that day had been 55 degrees and sunny. No mention of the weeks of manipulation that led up to that day. No context about my daughter-in-law's snide remarks or her family's elitist cruelty. Just me, the villain, the heartless, unstable old man who'd abandoned helpless tourists. I knew immediately who'd planted the story. Thomas Cartwright had been a senior VP at a local bank for 3 decades, a man with friends in media, politics, and business. He'd used his network to twist the knife, surgical and calculated. And for the first time since this mess began, I didn't feel hurt, I felt alive. That evening, I opened my laptop. My name was Robert Hayes. I wasn't some washed-up retiree. I'd built Hayes Custom Homes from nothing. I'd employed dozens of people, poured sweat and soul into every brick and beam. They'd forgotten who they were messing with, so I reminded myself. I typed Thomas Cartwright, Evelyn Cartwright, Lauren Hayes, Aaron Hayes. My daughter-in-law, my son, my betrayers. I opened every social media account I could find. Lauren's Instagram looked like a curated magazine. Weekend brunches, Pilates selfies, vacation photos in the Bahamas with the caption, "Grateful for everything we've built." Everything they'd built with my money. Aaron's Facebook was quieter but equally galling. Pictures of their house in Biltmore Forest, a kitchen I'd paid for, a patio I'd poured, mortgage payments I'd quietly covered every month for 5 years. Then I found the link. Lauren had recently connected with Meredith Collins, a columnist at the Asheville Times, the same woman who wrote the hit piece. That was their third mistake. They'd gone public. I'd returned the favor. For 3 straight days, I lived at my kitchen table. 5 years of bank records, mortgage payments, credit card bills for furniture, appliances, even that ridiculous backyard koi pond Lauren just had to have. All in a thick manila folder. Over $210,000. More than I'd ever spent on my own self. And then I printed screenshots. Lauren's posts, Aaron's comments, Evelyn's proud Facebook check-ins at country clubs while I paid their light bill. Then I printed 12 copies of everything because, according to Lauren's event calendar, they were hosting Christmas dinner. 12 guests, family, friends, neighbors, the kind who read the Asheville Times, the kind who cared about reputation. Perfect. December 24th, 6:45 p.m. I parked across from their house, briefcase in hand, dressed in the same black suit I wore to my wife Linda's funeral. They didn't hear me come in. Of course not. They never locked their door. Safe neighborhood, Lauren always boasted.
Laughter spilled from the dining room. I followed it like a hunter tracking prey. When I stepped into the room, everything stopped. Aaron dropped his fork. Evelyn went pale. Thomas stood up, knocking over his wine glass. "Robert," Lauren gasped, "you can't just—" "I absolutely can," I said calmly, setting my briefcase down on the sideboard. "And I think your guests deserve the truth." Then I moved around the table, placing a packet of documents in front of each guest. Here's who really paid for this house, for this kitchen, for this dinner you're enjoying. Faces turned from confusion to shock as they flipped through the statements. "This isn't," Thomas began. "This is $210,000 of my money," I interrupted, while I was being called unstable and unfit, while I was being excluded from my own family's holidays. Meredith Collins' article was next, annotated with red ink. Lie, fabrication, manipulated quote. Then came the social media posts. Lauren's caption, "So blessed, built this life from the ground up." My handwriting was cited. No, bought it with my checkbook. The silence was beautiful. "Thomas," one guest said, glaring, "you called him unstable. You let your daughter take advantage of this man, and then you tried to bury him in the press?" Lauren tried to defend herself. "He offered. He insisted." "No," I said. "I loved my son. I did it for him. I thought it would bring me closer to you all. Instead, it made me disposable." Aaron looked crushed. For once, he didn't speak. He just stared at the documents. "This is a family matter," Evelyn said weakly. "Then why did you make it front-page news?" I snapped. I turned to the room. "You wanted a villain? Here he is. But not the one you imagined. I was your benefactor, your scapegoat, your silent ATM. Not anymore." I gathered my things, nodded once at Aaron, and walked out. Behind me, the chaos began. In March, the letter came. Notice of default. 3 months of missed payments. The house I'd paid for was now days away from foreclosure. I didn't celebrate. I just set the letter aside and returned to my coffee. Lauren tried calling, blocked. Evelyn emailed, deleted. Even Thomas left a voicemail. Desperate, begging. Then Aaron came. He looked smaller, older, beaten. "Dad," he said, "we lost the house. I know. We can't make ends meet." I know. I was wrong. I know that too. He sat in my living room, eyes brimming. "Can we fix this?" I looked at the picture of Linda on the mantle, then at the photo beside it, me holding my neighbor's grandson at their 4th of July barbecue. Real smiles, real warmth. "You can't fix what you gave away," I said, "but you can build something new, from scratch, if you're willing." He nodded. I didn't promise him money. I didn't offer to save the house. But I offered him coffee, and maybe a second chance. In July, I turned 65, retired for real. Spent my birthday surrounded by neighbors, friends, people who saw me not as a wallet, but as a person. Aaron came. No Lauren, just him. He helped clean up after. Brought a gift, a photo of me and Linda, restored from an old negative. "I get it now," he said. I smiled. "Took you long enough." He hugged me, for the first time in years, and I realized something. You don't owe anyone silence when that silence is used to erase your worth. You don't have to buy love or beg for inclusion. You just have to walk away from the people who made you believe you had to.